Hi everyone, my name is Dana Gelsomino, and this is episode 13 of the Ask a Question Show, the show in which you ask a question about any type of narcissistic or otherwise abusive or toxic relationship or situation, and I, along with the rest of the audience here, will do our very best to help answer it for you. Our goal is to give you the feedback and the support that you need so that you can move forward in getting the clarity, the closure, and the healing that you so deserve. And so tonight's question comes from Rose. Rose asks, or says, I should say, "Hi, Dana. I love your videos. They're very educational." Thanks, Rose. My name is Rose, and I left my narc abuser in January, but I just wanted to know if you had any tips on getting over that fantasy love bombing. I keep coming across information that says I'll basically never find that again, and my therapist says I need a boring guy. But I don't want a boring guy, and I'm having difficulty letting go of all that magical stuff, regardless of all the crap he's done. Thanks, and I hope to hear from you. Okay, Rose, fantastic question. Okay, how do you get over the love bombing? Well, let me just kind of recap quickly for those who do not know what love bombing is. Love bombing is a communication technique that's done by highly manipulative people. It's probably most commonly known for it's a technique that cults use. And so basically what it is it's constant communication and it's constant compliments, and this is how manipulative people work. So it's like really that first week or two that they're trying to lure their target in. They are, they're texting, they're calling, they're emailing, they're liking your stuff on Facebook. It's just this like overabundance of attention, and it's it feels so amazing if you're on the receiving end of it, because it really makes the target feel so appreciated and loved and understood, and that's kind of the hook. And so, abusive and manipulative people use this technique. So what they do is, these kinds of relationships, they have really high highs and then they have really low lows, and then when they try to suck the victim back in, that's when that love bombing starts all over again. And the victim so wants to believe that the person who's doing the love bombing is the one that they're actually in the relationship with, and that all this other bad behavior can be changed with, enough time or enough prayer or enough therapy or enough rehab or enough something. But the reality is that behavior really doesn't ever change, especially if the person's not motivated to change it. So that's kind of what's so crazy making for victims. But yes, that love bombing, it's intoxicating when you're getting it. So it's intoxicating until you start seeing it for what it really is. Once you see it for like the ridiculousness that it really is, you stop falling for it. So that's kind of my advice. So how do you get over the fantasy love bombing is you really get crystal clear in your mind that that's what that is. It's not real. It's all smoke and mirrors. So the best way what worked for me and how to get over that love bombing, again, was to see it for what it was. And so going to be a side story here, but bear with me. I will loop back around. So just hang tight. There was a movie back in, I think, the 90s. It was a Stephen King movie. It was called Pet Sematary. And in this movie, there's a family. They move out to the country and they have a pet, and the pet dies and they bury it in this pet cemetery. And because the whole kind of rumor was that what came back, whatever that was buried in there would come back to life. And so they didn't know how to tell their, a 5-year-old, 6-year-old son that his pet had died. So they just buried it in this pet cemetery. Sure enough, the pet comes back. The pet turns out it's evil. They have to I forget, they somehow like kill the pet or they get rid of it or something. And then fast forward a little bit, now the son dies. And the parents are just beside themselves. They don't know what to do. They bury the son in the pet cemetery. And then the son comes back. But what comes back looks like the son and it talks like the son, but it's not the son. It's kind of this evil, twisted, destructive, dangerous version of the son. And so there's a lot of parallels between that movie and a narcissistic relationship. And so kind of once you see that mask slip off of that manipulative person, you have this really great, happy, good, well, sometimes person, right? And then the mask slips off when you see their dangerous, destructive, kind of double life, the deceit, all of the nonsense and the terrible behavior. It's kind of like the pet cemetery, right? So you bury your relationship, what you think was a good thing, and then what comes back is not, it looks like your former partner and it talks like your former partner, but it's not your former partner. It's just this evil, destructive version of them. But the reality is, with a narcissist or with any highly manipulative, dangerous, or destructive person, whatever name you want to call them, that's who they really are. What comes back is what they are. And so for me, I had to really make this crystal clear in my mind, for when Steve, my second covert narcissist, was trying to hoover me and suck me back into that. And I knew there was, logically, I knew, I'm like, Dana, this guy is nothing but trouble. He's full of lies. But I so wanted to believe all of the excuses, right? Because they're all somewhat convincing. And you really want to hold on to hope that, yes, indeed, okay, maybe really everybody else is lying. Maybe it is everybody else's fault. Maybe, maybe. But the reality is, no. The truth is, this is a really bad person who has really bad behavior. Like, end of story. And they're manipulative, and in order to manipulate effectively, they have to convince you that they're good and that they're innocent and that they can change. So you can't, you have to really separate that in your mind. So what I did was, in my email, and because I had to keep in contact with Steve because he owed me a lot of money, so in my email inbox, I had made a folder for him, and I called that folder Pet Cemetery. And in my phone, I changed the contact info to Pet Cemetery. And it was, again, because I'm a very visual person, it was that visual reminder of whenever he would call or text, or whenever he'd email, it was like, that's not Steve, that's Pet Cemetery version of Steve. Pet Cemetery version of Steve is evil and will only serve to, destroy and damage your life if you let him. So make the distinction between that. That's how you get over that love bombing, is you see it for what it really is. Okay, as far as your therapist goes, saying that you need a boring guy, my guess is she didn't mean this necessarily literally. So normal, healthy love, normal, healthy relationships, there's that slow, steady climb. They're built on trust. They're built on honesty. They're built on respect and dignity and all of these different, and time, right? Normal, healthy relationships don't go from I love you by the third date to let's talk about our future plans together by the end of the third week. That's not normal. That's not healthy. So normal, healthy relationships have that slow, steady climb. It's that in itself is, when you're used to something that's this whirlwind, that slow, steady climb can be seen as really boring, but it's really not, because that once you get to that level of that intimacy, that true intimacy, and that sincerity and that depth with another human being, it's amazing. It really, really is amazing. And it's real and it's lasting. Having a relationship with a narcissist, it's like, you're building your whole future on sand, which means you can't rely on them. They're not honest. They lie. They, have all kinds of terrible behavior. So to realize that that's not sexy or attractive or anything that you want in your life, that you want something that's real, that's how you start finding that attractive. And, you just have to kind of date other people, I think, to kind of get a feel for what's out there. And then you kind of realize that you will be able to move on, and that there's lots of other good people out there. And, I will say too, and this is embarrassing to admit, I have actually taken that advice literally. And felt really bad, like when I wasn't attracted to boring men, because I'm like, what's wrong? Like, this guy is, he's a really great guy on paper, and he's cute. He's cute, and he's a good dad, and there's so many things that are right about this guy, but I'm not attracted to him. So there must be something wrong with me. So that means I just need to kind of suck it up and date this guy and just convince myself that that's what's right and healthy for me. But the reality was there wasn't chemistry between us, and it wasn't because there wasn't the drama. There wasn't chemistry between us. We had a lot in common, fantastic guy. We were just not compatible in certain ways. So, date a person who is stable, date a person, but you have to date a person that you really enjoy. Don't date a boring guy. Like, nobody wants to date a boring person, but, find somebody that has the same interests and the same values and the same morals and the same ethics and the kind of the same trajectory of their life, and that they're okay and they're supportive of your hopes and dreams and goals, and they're understanding of your fears and kind of what you've been through. That's the foundation of a healthy relationship. That's what you should seek out. Not the love bombing on one end or super boring snooze fest guy on the other. Like, there is a happy medium there. It is out there. Don't put the pressure on you to find this guy like the next go around. Just keep it casual. Go out, just coffee dates. Doesn't have to be anything big. Just go out, meet new people, kind of see what's out there, and then reflect after, like, on your drive home or whatever. Start thinking about, okay, well, what did you like about this person? What did you not like about this person? Were there any red flags there? And it just kind of takes practice with meeting new people and interacting with them in a healthy way. And this is, again, I always recommend this website for a reason, because it's a fantastic website. I'm not affiliated with it. It's just a fantastic website. Meetup.com. This is a great place to go. You can meet a lot of like-minded people, men and women. It's not a dating site. It's where you can go to join groups based around common interests. It's a great way to get out there again, and to I think it's much better than a dating site, because you're really meeting people that sincerely like to do what you like to do. And that's kind of, a good foundation for a friendship or for a relationship. So I hope that helps. I will be curious to see kind of where you are in the next few months here. So keep us posted. And that's it for tonight. So if anybody else has a question for the show, please email me down below, and I will see what I can do about making a video for it. And if anybody else has a question, comment, concern, frustration, ideas, insights, you need some support, you just want to say hi, please also let me know. I enjoy hearing from you guys. So take care. Lots of love to you. You guys are not, you're not alone in this, and you are not crazy. What you are feeling is really real. It's probably not you, it's them. So just know that. We'll talk about that more in another episode. But, you're not crazy, and you really can heal. You really can move forward in having an amazing life for yourself. But it really does start with healthy boundaries and healthy standards, and realizing that you deserve better. So no more crumbs, right? We're going to have a good life from here on out. So take care, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.